If you don't want to pay attention so much in what's going on in the world, that is fine. You can live your life doing whatever you want to do, work, go home, be with your family, do your thing. But when you want to make a decision in speaking on major decisions that are affecting the entire country, you need to do your research first before you speak. Because when you speak stupid, you're spreading stupid. And other people are, it's contagious. It's contagious. And it's sickening to see I mean, I'm laughing about it because these people don't know what the hell they're talking about. And to me, I'm just like, okay, I'm coming on here, I'm reporting what I see. And I'm not just seeing one thing, I'm seeing multiple things, the sources of things. The American people should be doing the same thing.
No, your eyes are not deceiving you. That really is a flying car. A US startup recently released this footage of an ultralight pre-production version of its vehicle.
It is actually looks like and functions as the regular car. You can drive most of the way, take off and fly without transition over some kind of a traffic, over an obstacle, over a river, over anything, and then continue driving. Or you can fly all the way in the transition in the biplane mode. You as a driver have a choice of that.
It's hard to tell from the videos if the test flight was manned. When one US broadcaster filmed a demo flight, its reporting team was kept at a distance and didn't see if anyone entered or left the cockpit. But the company says there was a pilot inside in the films it's released, and its CEO is bullish that the vehicle's engineering is sound.
The safety of the actual vehicle is good enough for consumers. You need to understand the rules of airspace. It comes naturally to you, but there are rules of how you operate on the ground. There are also rules of how you operate in the air.
The company isn't revealing much in a bid to protect its intellectual property, and we also didn't get to see the car perform some of the more complex maneuvers it needs for efficient flight.
We need to make sure it's safe to operate. We are working as hard as possible to try to get it to customers. We plan to start the production of the first one
when you have somebody under the influence operating this, no, you're going to see these things flying into houses and buildings. People always envision, even as a young kid, seeing these type of things on TV and being like, oh my gosh, I can't wait for the future. You get to see flying cars and all these cool things. And now that it's slowly coming to life, you start to really see the risks of what it can do and what it cannot do. High-speed chases. I mean, if somebody got in this thing and there's all of a sudden a high-speed chase and all officers need to have vehicles that can fly now. Because say you're chasing somebody in this vehicle and all of a sudden they lift off, the cop's not going to be able to fly after them. You're going to have to quickly get a helicopter to jump in the high-speed flight, I guess you would call it. They're getting a little too far ahead with this stuff, in my opinion. Kind of like they did with Tesla and these automated cars. I believe, in my opinion, that in order to have these automated vehicles, especially the self-driving vehicles, every single vehicle needs to have one on the road. Every single one needs to be connected to each other so everything knows where everything's at, what's happening. When you have a different, like a variable in the equation of a vehicle that is operated by a human and not self-driving, they can do things that could mess up the rest of the vehicles to create bad accidents that could cause death. This is why I believe every single vehicle would need to be connected together. The self-driving this is crazy. People are having a tough time passing a driver's license. You'd have to get a flight license, a pilot license for this as well. I was hoping instead of some type of propeller, we would have some scientists create some flying vehicles that use gravity of some sort to help use gravity as a way of means to move vehicles.
It's heart-stopping video. A millionaire businesswoman is desperately trying to flee an assassin who chases her around her luxury SUV.
What the?
She makes a break for it, but the cold-blooded killer guns her down. The victim
No.
is 44-year-old Jessica Torres, who owned a vast commercial real estate empire across Southern California. The horrifying drama unfolded in this parking lot in San Bernardino. Jessica Torres had just pulled in for an early lunch at her favorite fast food restaurant when she was struck down. At first, police thought it was a robbery gone wrong, but now they say there was a much more sinister motive: a murder for hire. Surveillance video shows Jessica leaving the restaurant and walking to her $175,000 Mercedes G-Wagon. As she opens the door, another SUV pulls behind and blocks her in her parking spot. The assassin climbs out of the passenger seat and confronts her. He grabs her purse, steps back, and fires. But incredibly, he misses. Brave Jessica leaps out of the car. What follows is an epic life-or-death struggle as she tries to wrestle the gun from him. A Good Samaritan runs out of the restaurant to help, but he runs for his life when the gunman opens fire. Then that terrifying chase around her vehicle as the gunman fires again and again at her, 9 times in all. 4 hours later, the alleged assassin and getaway driver were tracked down thanks to surveillance video and witnesses. Then came the next shocking development. Police say it wasn't a robbery gone wrong at all. They say turns out 2 of the suspects had links to the victim's husband. Jessica's 53-year-old estranged husband, Sergio Reveles, was charged with plotting the murder along with 3 other men, a total of 5 suspects. Police body cam shows SWAT teams raiding a house in San Bernardino to make the arrests.
Definitely a murder for hire case. There is evidence to show that the suspects did stalk our victim for several days and months prior to this murder.
Torres.
Damn. Whew. $175,000 car, they said. Ooh, you need to be on a swivel everywhere you go if you're riding around with money like that. Damn.
An Arizona woman's grateful to be alive today after she was hit from behind by a cement truck and then trapped inside her vehicle as it caught fire. Fortunately, Good Samaritans stopped, and as Les Trent reports, incredibly, one of them was an off-duty firefighter who happened to have his gear with him.
A pickup truck is on fire, perched perilously on just 2 wheels. It happened after the vehicle was slammed from behind by a cement truck. Thick black smoke billows from the vehicle, and rush hour traffic is backed up for miles outside Mesa, Arizona. Then a motorcycle cop pulls up. His first question: did the driver escape? Did you get out? The mom is trapped inside as Good Samaritans join in trying to break the window.
Here, get out of the way, get out of the way.
It's all hands on deck as one brave civilian tries to extinguish the fire. The cop pulls out the glass. Suddenly, you see a leg climbing through the window.
Get out.
All of a sudden, the car rights itself and the woman falls back inside.
Get her out of there! Get her out, dude!
That's when a heroic off-duty firefighter on his way to work reaches in and pulls the woman to safety.
Get her out. Anybody else in there? Anybody else in there? Get back from the truck, get back!
Miraculously, she is alive.
Okay, we got you. Anybody else in there?
The truck is now completely engulfed in flames.
I'm just grateful I was there.
Here is the off-duty firefighter who put his life on the line to save the trapped driver.
First thing on my mind, and the only thing on my mind, was getting her out of the vehicle, and once we got her out, was getting her away to a safe location.
Wow. What'd she say to you?
She had mentioned that she had just dropped off her kids at school, so she was, very grateful for that they weren't in the vehicle as well.
Anybody else in there?
The woman was taken to the hospital. She is expected to make a full recovery.
Damn. It's always good to have Good Samaritans come out and try to help. You know, a lot of those people I don't even know what he was using to try to break the window, but luckily an officer there, a firefighter, saved her life.
A developing story that we are following and potential breaking news at this moment, as we are seeing that an American Airlines flight has been diverted on its way to Rome after a potential security threat. Seeing here the New York Post on X writing, American Airlines flight from JFK diverts, escorted to Rome by fighters after bomb threat on board.
Went over Amsterdam, we passed Rome, We were just a couple hours out of Delhi before they told us we had to turn around, just went around there. So, yeah, that was 11 and a half hours into the flight.
Version. This video showing the moments fighter jets escorted American Airlines Flight 292. The jets surrounding the plane on both sides. The flight was bound for New Delhi, India, and departed New York earlier today. American Airlines right in the plane, a Boeing 787 Dreamliner, was diverted to Rome due to a possible security concern.
There was a sharp turn at the point of the diversion, and he said, "You may have noticed that we've just taken a sharp turn. The reason is there's a security concern, and so we've diverted to Rome."
A source familiar with the matter tells NBC News there was a bomb threat that was sent via email. Just before the plane landed, fighter jets seen here above the airport in Rome. The plane safely landed, where American Airlines say law enforcement inspected the aircraft and cleared it. American Airlines writing the possible issue was determined to be non-credible.
Hey, just in case, you never know. You never know. Divert that plane, land quickly, get these people off the plane safely. Luckily, there wasn't a bomb on the plane. If you see jets, if you're flying on a plane and you see jets come out of nowhere and they're basically keeping an eye on this plane that you're in, that's a huge problem. It's not a good thing.
A deadly shooting at a hospital in York, Pennsylvania. That's west of Philadelphia. One police officer has been killed. Authorities say a suspect carrying a handgun and zip ties entered the intensive care unit at UPMC Memorial Hospital, taking several staff members hostage. They say he opened fire, striking a doctor, a nurse, and a custodian. The suspect was holding one staff member at gunpoint and had another worker in zip ties when police say he was shot and killed by officers. West York Borough Police Officer Andrew Duarte died on the scene. 2 other officers were also shot but are in stable condition. Tonight, authorities have not shared a motive for the shooting. ABC's Christian Cordero leading us off from the scene in York, Pennsylvania.
Tonight, one police officer is dead and several others are injured after a gunman stormed a local hospital in Pennsylvania.
And be advised, we have 2 officers hit by gunfire.
According to officials, the gunman, Diogenes Archangel Ortiz, entered UPMC Hospital in York, Pennsylvania around 10:30 a.m., armed with a handgun and zip ties.
He went straight to the ICU, and in the ICU, this individual went and held hostage members of the UPMC staff.
Adding, Ortiz tied the hands of one hospital staff member behind her back as police responded to the scene.
The individual was holding at gunpoint a member of the UPMC staff and ordered the police to get back to behind the doors.
Authorities say Ortiz fired his gun, striking a doctor, nurse, and custodian. As police officers attempted to engage Ortiz, he entered the hallway holding the hostage at gunpoint. An intense firefight ensued, and Ortiz was struck and killed. 3 officers were also hit. Officer Andrew Duarte, a law enforcement veteran, was killed.
Rest in peace to this man, and condolences to all of his family members. It sucks hearing this and not being able to understand the motive to help prevent situations like this from happening again, especially in a hospital. Damn.
Shooting sending shockwaves through this quiet community.
The act of extraordinary bravery and courage by the healthcare workers here, by the law enforcement professionals. I know that because of their work, lives were saved today here at UPMC Memorial.
Wait a minute, EJ. We're already pumping more oil than we've ever pumped before. Now, if we get prices down 60 or 70%, why should you pump oil at that price? Because you can't make a profit.
Stuart, great question. It's going to require two things from this administration. One is going to be lower marginal tax rates on those producers, and the other thing is going to be a drastic reduction in the regulatory red tape that adds costs to the production process. So that way, if you get those costs down, all of a sudden, a well that previously was only viable at $80 or $90 a barrel now can be viable at $50 or $60 a barrel. That's a key component here, a key ingredient behind getting production up. You know, there was a study done by an economics professor, Casey Mulligan, where he found that we are millions of barrels below where we could be in terms of oil production, and it's due to the anti-energy policies that we have seen implemented over the last several years. So yes, production is up, but it would be up much more were it not, again, for all those anti-energy policies.
But it's going to take a long time, isn't it? Surely years before you can really ramp up oil and gas production and get it distributed.
Well, Stu, but the problem is that exact same argument was made during the Obama administration, for example. It was a huge part of the push against hydraulic fracturing to say, well, why would you even start these wells? It's going to take years before it has any impact. Okay, but what's the alternative? To not do anything and to see prices continue to ramp higher and higher? So I think that's all the more reason why we need to get rid of, again, that regulatory red tape that adds to the timeline. We need to get that down so we can get this product to market as soon as possible. But Stuart, the other thing that's really important to remember, we're in a bit of a unique moment right now in that well count has actually been going down even as production has gone up. In other words, we have been mothballing a lot of infrastructure under the Biden administration because we thought that, well, these things are just never going to be viable again. And so it would take actually a relatively short amount of time to return a lot of those wells to production. In other words, you can ramp up production faster today than you could at most other points in history.
Okay, we'll take that, and that's what we would love to see. EJ and Tony.
A lot of these things will take time. I've said it in other videos. A lot of these things that are being implemented by this new administration, a lot of the effects that the American people are going to see is probably going to take time. Be patient. I mean, when you've damaged so much of the country, it takes time to repair it.
Okay, so let's get to the discussion. Arthel, could you give me a rundown of what you did last week?
Well, I did this and I did that. Probably not, you know. I mean, so that is tricky, you know, because think about it. If you're doing your job and you get really busy and everything, and so sometimes you do remember, sometimes you don't. But, and then the other thing about this, Tom, is there are people who are on vacation. They may not be able to respond, so I'm wondering what's going to happen to them. And listen, if President Trump is telling Elon Musk to get to it and get aggressive about trimming the fat, Elon, come over here and help me trim my fat. It's not working.
I approve of this message.
Oh, no.
I need a little help, Elon.
He might start doing that next week.
Wow. Help me out, brother.
Elon, let's take a look, Kevin. Elon was justifying his order in another tweet. I think we have a full screen of that. Can you guys read that? Where is it here? What does he say? Okay, it's in my teleprompter. The reason this matters is that a significant number of people who are supposed to be working for the government are doing so little work that they're not checking their email at all. In some cases, we believe non-existent people or the identities of dead people are being used to collect paychecks. In other words, there is outright fraud. Wow. So this is I guess it's a chance to check on them. And if you go on vacation, Kevin, you got to put that little message in your email. Right?
You know, I swear, I've been working for this company for more than 10 years. I still don't know how to do that. So I just answer my phone wherever I'm on. Listen, I agree with Arthel. If you want to help, you know, trim a little fat, I'm here. I'm here for you. But I think more importantly, what they're really trying to achieve is, I think we all know people who work super hard, are very dedicated and serious about their jobs. And we also know some people who probably aren't giving it their all. And I think what they're attempting to assess is, first of all, are you a real keeper? Are you somebody who's intense about doing your job and making the company better, or in this case, the country? Or perhaps alternatively, are you someone who maybe needs to think about your career choice? Maybe it won't include a future with the government. We'll see.
Yeah, wow. I think it's interesting, Molly, what Elon is doing. I mean, this is a businessman. He's trying to get to Mars. you know, he was really a darling of the left with his, you know, electric car and everything. Now he's kind of all in on this Trump thing, and Trump wants him to be more aggressive. He wants him to be more like him.
Which is one of those things where people are throwing all their hate at Elon, but really this message is coming from the top, and Elon is immediately responding so fast that he's shooting out an email that everybody else has to send an email back by Monday, which is a wild thing to do, I think, on a weekend. You know, I don't know that all federal employees are expected to check their emails all weekend long. We, of course, as journalists and looking at breaking news, are very used to looking at emails and checking things all weekend long. I don't know that every government worker, depending on what position they're in, checks an email on Saturday and would be ready to respond by a given time with a looming threat by Monday. But it's interesting, there's actually quite a bit of internal pushback within the federal government on this from the unions, of course. The federal workers unions are pushing back, but also federal departments, agencies, the Department of Defense telling employees that they're reviewing performance of its personnel. I mean, some of these agencies are saying you don't need to respond to Elon, to this email, rather, I guess specifically. So I think there'll be a lot of confusion from federal employees who got this email as to whether or not they have to respond to it, and then what happens if they don't. I don't know. It's very interesting, and this is.
They're probably telling certain staff not to respond so they can have their reason to get fired or let go. I would encourage everybody in the government to be responding to these emails. I'm sick and tired of hearing about this subject going on lately. If you work for the government, you should be working for the government. A lot of these people complain and itch about not having a job, and when they finally get the job, they want to do 50%, 20% of the work. COVID came and made everybody too damn comfortable and staying home and doing work. COVID's gone, or we don't know where it's at now. People should be going back to work. Their actual office building, behind a computer, whatever you do in the government, you should be going to somewhere and not staying home. And a lot of people are making excuses now. Well, I can't do it because of this reason, because of this reason. Well, how did you do it pre-COVID, before COVID? Now, if you got these positions after or during COVID, makes a little more sense, but you should have still been informed the date of hire. Hey, there's going to be a possibility that at some point in time, you will be coming back to work in the office building. We're not letting everybody work from home. And if the government does that, then they need to close down these buildings. They need to close down these offices, because a lot of the taxpayer money is going to these empty buildings that are not being occupied. And this is the main issue. This is why Elon Musk is stepping in and saying, hey, we need to check to see who is actually working for the government. If you're not working for the government, you're not willing to go back in, okay, here's some money. If not, if you haven't been there long enough, you need, bye, peace out, you gotta leave. It's annoying seeing some of these people come on here and they're like, well, I've just started this position a few months ago and haven't had a real good performance review. Well, you should have been outstanding and been more assertive maybe, and you probably would have kept your position. But who knows? I'm not sure. I'm not working for the government right now. So, but still, I mean, they're doing some type of action. This government is doing some type of action to ensure that it's running efficiently. Doge, that's why it's been created. So let me know what you guys think about this subject in the comments below.
Growing more desperate to stop Elon Musk. In fact, now they are apparently resorting to threats of violence.
Do you think that calling Elon Musk a is effective messaging for confronting what is a potentially irreversible transformation of the U.S. government?
And what I think is really important, and what the American public want, is for us to bring actual weapons to this bar fight.
Bring actual weapons to this fight.
What?
Actual weapons to this bar fight.
Representative Robert Garcia, you are a disgrace to our government, to our country, and I do not support anything you do. He's an oversight Doge subcommittee member and is fighting against everything that has to do with Doge. Ridiculous. Who appointed him to be in this position is my question. But for him to incite violence, bring actual weapons, threatening against Elon Musk, He needs to step down. You're done. You're done. The American people do not want to. We don't want to create chaos within our government. Like, we already know the intentions of what Trump wanted, which is why he got elected. Elon Musk being appointed, running Doge. We know his intentions on what he's trying to do. People like this fighting back. It's not a good look. It's not a good look. We don't need these people in these positions.
Bring actual weapons to this fight. Meantime, a federal prosecutor is investigating those comments, saying, quote, "This sounds to some like a threat to Mr. Musk, an appointed representative of President Donald Trump, who you call an expletive, and government staff who work for him. We take threats against public officials very seriously." Of course, this all comes just days after an Indiana man was also arrested for threatening Musk's life online. And just last week, you may have seen this, Senator Thom Tillis.
This is what I'm talking about. Now the American people are listening to Robert Retard, and now they're going out there and posting things online, and now they're getting arrested for it. Keep it up. Keep it up. This is how you get all the idiots arrested and locked away for inciting violence. It's ridiculous.
Spotted an Eliminate Elon sign displayed on the streets of the nation's capital. And even worse, it doesn't stop there. Get this, a man of the cloth, a pastor, is getting involved.
No one likes violence, but sometimes violence is necessary. When Elon Musk forces his way into the United States Treasury and threatens to steal your personal information and your Social Security check,
it's not what he said.
There is a possibility.
That's not what he said. He didn't say he was going to steal Social Security checks. He did not say that. And for a liberal pastor, saying this, you know who's watching this? Not just the American people. God is watching you say these things that are not true. Should be stripped from the church.
Ability of violence. Sometimes the devil will act so ugly that you have no other choice but to get violent and fight.
How ironic.
You know, sometimes the devil will use those who claim to love the Lord to foment his agenda. Just listening to that is so shocking to me, Tom. I've never heard a pastor suggest that violence in this particular instance, because first of all, he's suggesting that Elon Musk is trying to steal your Social Security check. I mean, it's kind of, I don't want to say it's crazy, but it sounds crazy. What do you think?
Yeah, and you know, the first instance we had, talking about the bar fight, in that case, he could have said, I was using tough language. This has happened before. Obama famously said that. You don't bring a knife to a gunfight or whatever, things like that. People use tough language all the time. But this pastor, he came out and said it. He said, we might have to resort to violence.
Unbelievable.
So, yeah, a little ridiculous. And a lot of this talk about compassion. Oh, we need to have compassion for these people that are going through this. Really, you have to have compassion for the American taxpayer, because
that's right.
If we have things that we need to get done, the American taxpayer is reasonable. So if you cut a bunch of jobs and then we say, oh my gosh, that was too much, we need to rehire these people, taxpayers are going to understand that, and they're going to say, as long as they know their money's going to a good place. So he starts with the sledgehammer and the chainsaw, and then we can pare it back from there.
Arthel, what do you think?
Well, you said a couple of key words, Tom, and you said as long as the American people know what's going on. And I understand that the government, the president, they have a right to not show their hand on everything. But I think people are afraid of what's happening. We have never been here before. So I'm not sure maybe if they're able to kind of use that old whiteboard, if you will, and say, look, this is what I've done. This is what I would suggest. 10 days. This is what I've cut in 10 days. I've found $5 million of waste in 10 days. Then the next 10 days, I found another 15 million in 10 days. So it's that transparency, I think, that would make people feel a little less afraid. And when people are afraid, they're like a cat with their back against the wall, and they want to, lash out. But again, violence is not okay at all, period.
If the American people, taxpayers, are afraid of what Elon Musk is doing with Doge and for this country, that means that they are not informed. They are not informed of what is actually going on. They need to pay attention a little bit more to make a more clearful decision on what is actually, on how they actually feel about the subject. They can't just say, oh, let me just watch this 5-second clip online and say, oh my God, they're firing everybody. Oh my, he's going into the Social Security to check something. Wait, what? He's going to take our money? Oh my God. And then you start playing this telephone game of changing what the actual truth is. And then people run with it. And then they tell their buddies and their friends. And now those people are getting their information from their friend rather than the actual source of where it's coming from. Doge and Elon Musk himself. Elon Musk himself has said repeatedly, the American people are free to go to the Doge website, and it lists every single thing that we're finding and that's being leaked out. We're putting it out there for the American people to see. We're not hiding anything from you guys. And like he said, I'm not stealing Social Security numbers to finally buy something good for myself. Like, come on, guys, come on. Be a little bit more informed. You got to pay attention. If you don't want to pay attention so much in what's going on in the world, that is fine. You can live your life doing whatever you want to do, work, go home, be with your family, do your thing. But when you want to make a decision in speaking on major decisions that are affecting the entire country, you need to do your research first before you speak. Because when you speak stupid, you're spreading stupid, and other people it's contagious. It's contagious, and it's sickening to see on. I mean, I'm laughing about it because these people don't know what the hell they're talking about. And to me, I'm just like, okay, I'm coming on here, I'm reporting what I see, and I'm not just seeing one thing. I'm seeing multiple things, the sources of things. The American people should be doing the same thing.
The answer. Molly, I'm going to get you to weigh in on this one. The gold rush is on over Doge. President Trump and Elon Musk say they want to crack open the vault over at Fort Knox.
We're also going to Fort Knox. I'm going to go with Elon. And would anybody like to join us? Because we want to see if the gold is still there. We want to see.
All this gold at Fort Knox, it's the public's gold. It's your gold. So, I think you have, a right to see it.
If the gold isn't there, we're going to be very upset.
Conspiracy.
He's got his shades on, so he can go look at the gold.
This is
I think
such
it would
a
be
great
awesome.
story.
Go on in. Cameras rolling.
Absolutely.
Let's see the gold. You know?
I love this story. Now, conspiracy theorists are having a field day with that comment. A lot of them out there think that Fort Knox is flat out empty. But the Treasury Secretary, Scott Bessent, says, listen, relax. That's not the case. The gold is there. Here he is.
I can tell the American people on camera right now that there was a report September 30th, 2024. All the gold is there.
All right, Molly.
There was a report. No, you got to go in.
What do you think? How about this? We take X and we have a live stream.
Yes.
And have them go and sort of walk us through.
This sounds great. You know, Donald Trump and Elon Musk get, blamed for conspiracy theories. They're trying to just clear one up. Let's do it live on X. That sounds like a great time.
We'll do it live.
Yeah,
As somebody here previously said. Arthel.
I'm down. I'm going to get my gold Trump sneakers, put them on,
and I'm going in. I'm going for the gold. Tom, what do you think?
I think Donald Trump wants to get a shot of him sitting atop a big pile of gold. Wouldn't you love that? Like a big pyramid of gold, and he's just sitting up there smiling.
Yes.
Right? I think we're going to go into Fort Knox, and we're going to see William Devane standing there with a gold coin.
Hi, I'm William
Golden
Devane.
Age. I mean, it's all set up. It's all branding, right?
You know what? But let me ask you, though. I know there are people who are a little concerned about this. I'm not concerned about this. I do know that they check it. But I do think, again, with love and honor and respect for my former colleague, Geraldo, that some people are hoping.
That's exactly what I thought of,
That's
too.
right. They're thinking they're going to get in there and this thing's going to be empty. And I don't think that's going to happen. Can you imagine?
But we should invite Geraldo for sure.
Come
Let
on.
him open.
I would love that. I would pay money to see.
But we want to see it. That's the thing. We don't need to report. We don't need to read it on a piece of paper.
Yeah.
Show me the gold.
Show me the money.
Show me the money.
All right.
Well, that's going to be happening pretty soon. I'm hoping to see that as well.
Measles outbreak in West Texas is getting worse with more than 90 cases, and many of the infected are unvaccinated children. The epicenter of the outbreak is in Gaines County, Texas. Here's ABC's Maria Villarreal.
Tonight in Texas, the worst outbreak of measles to hit the state in more than 30 years is getting worse. The Texas Department of Health now reporting 90 cases in West Texas alone. That's 32 more cases since Tuesday. 16 patients had to be hospitalized. Nearly all of those infected children. And in almost every case, the patient was unvaccinated.
When you layer a very infectious virus in close quarters with many kids that are unvaccinated, that is a recipe for a disaster.
Daycare centers where some are too young to be vaccinated, on alert for fevers and rashes.
Newborn babies, they don't receive the vaccine until they're 1 year old.
And children can't get the second dose to be fully vaccinated until they are 4. Texas requires vaccinations but allows for parental and religious exemptions.
Maria, thank you.
Meantime, Democrats are...
You know, the government has been tricking us with this COVID thing. I don't know exactly what they're putting in my kids after I give birth. New appointed position for the HHS department. He's going to find out exactly what the effects, causes, long-term effects of these vaccines are. And that's what the American people should know, especially because a lot of parents don't know exactly what's being put inside of their kids. And to have better clarification and at least know the health risks, the short-term, long-term risks. I've seen reports where they say it's some things, certain vaccinations can be linked to autism. I'm not sure exactly which ones, but that's why we need people to come in and ask questions to figure out, hey, let's reevaluate some of these vaccines and see which ones are actually necessary for us humans. All right, guys, well, this is news of the day. Let me know what you guys think on some of these videos. If you have any questions or any type of input or any other further information that you know on a specific topic of what's happening in today's news, let me know. Drop it in the comments below. Like and subscribe. I'd appreciate it. Until next time, peace out, guys.